Welcome to the Peak Mental Performance Podcast with Joe Schillero, optimizing your mental health and athletic performance one episode at a time.
Cool. We are set. So, Casey, thanks for taking the time to do this, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So I know it's the last year, probably a little more now than a year for you, has been super transitional for multiple reasons. Starting with your career, you've transitioned from, being totally outside of the fitness realm to now opening your own gym. And, I know many people that have owned a gym know all the challenges that come with that. Can you speak just a little bit, kind of summarize where what you were doing before and then now, kind of as what made you decide to go into the opening a gym and wanting to move in that direction of the business world?
Yeah, sure. So I followed the typical, sorry, I'm getting text messages here.
It's okay.
Followed the typical career path where, you listen to your parents, right? Do well in high school, do well in college, you get a good job, and then you make good money, and then you're happy. And I think our generation is figuring out that that's just not the case. Money's great, and I made really good money. I had way more than I needed, and wasn't happy. So there were some other factors that led to the transition from Baker Hughes to opening my own gym. I enjoyed the job. It was I was in the field. I was an account manager. I got to do a lot of different things, learned a lot about business, had a really great manager. He was one of those guys that fought for us before he fought for himself as far as like raises and all that stuff. That has made a lasting impression on me. Not only just being selfless, but just it made it very apparent to me that when you do that, when you take care of your guys, you make your job that much easier. And that's kind of transitioned into, what we do here at Union Fitness, but I'll get into that later. So it was a good job. It was a corporate job. It was kind of one of those that most people were like, yeah, that's the end game. That's the goal. And if I had to go back, I'd be fine. I would suck it up if it was an issue where, Yessie and I were having kids or something like that. And, and this wasn't stable or whatever the reason being. I didn't hate it, but it was stifling, I guess might be a good word. You can be yourself to a certain degree. And that frustrated me because I was going kind of through that transition where I was figuring out who I was. I was never rebellious, and I started to be a little bit, fighting a little bit. Like I got a tattoo, and my mom's like, she fucking freaks out. She kept going. She's like, if you do this, you're not coming over. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. She means a sleeve, obviously, but I'm like, fucking whatever. So yeah, leaving that job to come here, she's old school. She worked the same job for 38 years. She didn't understand it. And so some things happened at work. Actually, I'll get into it. It's kind of interesting because you're into kratom now, right? So I kind of want to ask you about that later. But
Sure.
I was having training. You run into inflammation, and I was having some stomach issues, which obviously led to what ulcerative colitis and all the shit that I dealt with recently.
Right.
But I tried CBD oil, and I did all my research, and the bottle says no THC, none of this, none of that. And I read online forums, and it says, if you take a fuck ton of it, if you take the whole bottle, you could test positive. And I was like, all right, well, I'll use it responsibly and not have any issues. Right. I got a drug test at work, and I got a phone call one day, and they said, do you tested positive for THC?
Oh, man.
And I was like, and I'm not even thinking of CBD at this point. I'm like, I've never smoked weed in my life. I don't,
Yeah.
And they were like, well, were you at a concert? And I probably should have just said yes at that point. Like, oh, that party that somebody made food, like whatever. So I ended up I was fired. I was let go. My levels were, they use DOT standard testing. So it's basically like if you've had it in the last 3 months or 6 months, it shows positive, unfortunately. But honest to God, it was the best kick in the ass ever. The opportunity to open Union Fitness was there even before I got fired. And I don't know if I would have made the leap. And I'm just thankful that I was forced into it because it's been a lot of fun. I work for 3 different partners. They work out of New York City. This, where I work, is it's called Nova Place. It used to be an old mall, and it's the second largest urban renovation project in the U.S. right now. Yeah, I mean, I won't get into the numbers because I'm probably not supposed to say anything, but it's
Right.
spend a lot of money monthly renovating the entire place. It's 4 apartment buildings, two office towers, a mall, like a 30-acre parking garage. So Union Fitness gets to be a piece of that. Originally, they wanted it to be an amenity, and fortunately, my buddies at Fit, FITT.co. It's a really great website. They're in a bunch of different cities. Just gives you active lifestyle, shit to do every weekend, hiking trails and stuff like that. Anyways, they got me hooked up with these guys, and I got to take the gym and run with it. So it's been a lot of fun. We have a really great community, a small community. We're growing very slowly, but it's good. It's not it's not a Planet Fitness, right? We don't sign up 100 people and 90 of them, never show up or cancel, or so it's. Every month we have 30 or 40 people show up and they stick and stay, and it's good. It's a lot of fun.
That's sweet, man. I'm interested, like, how because I know you were asking a lot of the team members for input when you were transitioning to gym ownership. How many people you were mentioned to that you were thinking about doing it? What was the split of like people who were like go for it and people who were like you're an idiot? Just out of curiosity, like, did you have were most people supportive, or did you have a lot of people that were like, dude, you have a stable job, what are you thinking?
Everyone was supportive because in the end they would give good advice, but I would say probably everybody except Murph. Murph was like, this is fucking awesome, bro. JL was like, you're a fucking idiot. David Allen was like, you're a fucking idiot. So yeah, Dave Tate gave me. He never says one way or the other, right? He never tells anybody what to do. He just gives you the lowdown. So no, everybody was supportive, but yeah, there were the vast majority was don't fucking do it. Now, fortunately, I don't have. Not to get into too many details, but I don't have money invested in this. This is all my time, basically, is what they're paying me for. So it is my gym in the sense that I get to do whatever the fuck I want, whatever I need to do. But I'm going to do it with, everybody's best interest at heart. Because we have, we're at 5-6 employees now. So that's, people that I need to take care of. So I'm fortunate. It's a very fortunate situation. It's, financially we have what we need. There's always that, you're always fighting for growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. Business is business. But no, it's good. Fortunate situation.
Do you feel like some of the stuff that you learned working in your corporate job before, have you seen anything you learned from that, from working in other areas, help you with the gym ownership?
Business-wise, no. Business is business. I mean, you have your spreadsheets and your accounting and all that stuff. It's all the same, just different titles and, inventory management, whatever. When I started work at Baker Hughes, it was literally the week after I graduated from college. And it was a sales position, and I was scared to death. I'm not a salesman at heart. I'm a little bit too honest. And it did me well, actually, because it was a change of pace for a lot of my customers. They were like, oh, this guy's, this is a normal guy. He's not he's not pulling our chain or fucking with us at all. So it worked well. But it got to the point where there were times where I had to be somebody different, but, we all have our morals and our values. And it was just like, I'm not, it's not worth me compromising that to make a sale for Baker Hughes. And that's when I realized, it's not for me. I'd rather do something I'm passionate about and maybe make a little less money and feel good every night when I go home.
Right.
So, the biggest thing was learning my personality, learning some sales, learning how to talk to people, get comfortable, get presentations, all that kind of stuff. So, there were some less business, more the personal side of things was very helpful. That was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I know with just the different aspects of business, there's so many challenges, and we work in different environments. But I know with running the gym facility here, there's just so many little things that you would never have thought of when you were just going to a gym versus owning one. What are some of the challenges that you've faced since you started running this place? And
People fucking use my deadlift bars to squat and bench.
Yeah.
I fucking I have colored duct tape all over my bars. That's one, but no, just like you said, you're seeing it from a different perspective now. Were you typically always like a gym rat?
Yeah, for the most part.
So, I went to commercial gyms when I was young, and I was always respectful of like the equipment, and that just comes with being a guy that likes to go to the gym. Yeah. Not doing the ridiculous exercises that you see people doing. So like, I always had that respect, and so that's the unfortunate part, right? There's some people that just don't get that, and they're never going to get that. And you have to get over the fact that they're not going to get that.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to have an aneurysm every day, because there's just we have two separate facilities here almost. We have a fitness center, like an LA Fitness side, and a CrossFit style side. We don't do CrossFit. We do kind of individual programming and all that. Mm-hmm. But I had a guy carry 35s in from the other room into here. He was benching like 205 or something. And I looked at him, and he was new. And I looked at him, I'm like, 25 and 10 doesn't do it for you. Like I had to have a serious conversation with him. And he was laughing by the end of it. But I was like you went through all the trouble to grab plates, walk through double doors, have somebody hold the door. I was just like, what? And that's a small example, but like, yeah, there's just some shit that doesn't make sense sometimes.
Yeah, it's funny. There's always things that between that and even I've noticed for me from like a staff management standpoint, sometimes staff will do things where like I would have never imagined I would have to address this at any point in my life, but you've found a way to make it happen. So the two girls I originally hired, Lindsay and Allison, are phenomenal. They're great. Like when I was sick, they ran everything, man. They would check in with me, and they took care of shit. They were amazing. We have Davis, who's in the morning, is an awesome. We use fat bells. I stole Donnie's fat bells, and they're just easier to teach than kettlebells for the most part, especially for beginners. So we have him do that, and then Beth from Pitt. She does a great job. Here was one funny one. We had pirate tickets to give away. We were going to get, anybody signed up for personal training that day would get a chance to win pirate tickets. Mm-hmm. First person that signed up for something, she just gave him the pirate tickets. And I was like, how's it going? She's like, well, we're out of tickets. I was like, well, no, sure, we're out of tickets. We only had one set. And she started laughing. She's like, oh my God. But that really was probably my fault. That's what you learn, right? Like, you need to be very specific. You need to be, and once you get that rapport, it's fine. But like, I can't blame her. I mean, I've had stuff happen like that before too, man, where I like realize, like, when you realize not everyone thinks like you do, and then you're like, crap, I need to know how to explain this so people other than myself could understand it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. That's great. That's been going well for you, man. It's been exciting just in following your guys' social media stuff and seeing your stuff. It's just been like cool to see it all taken off. And
the biggest challenge, and this is not downplaying anything any of the guys told me, but like I said, we have this separate facility. We have this we call it the strength lab. We have this facility, and then we have the fitness center. My biggest challenge has been spin and yoga, trying to get that to take off. We're not everything, and it seems like most things in fitness are going boutique style. The small boutique yoga place and all that stuff, and they do really well. Pittsburgh's a little bit saturated. I'm sure most places are with yoga anymore. But it's just the idea of going to a gym for some people that they're not going to pay extra for yoga, spin, some of those services. But when they walk into our strength lab or our room that has the purpose is very obvious what it is, they'll pay more for that. Right. So that's our biggest challenge. I have this space. I have to find the best way to use it. And the fitness center side of things it's really hard. The equipment is. We paid 3 times as much for that equipment as we did for the stuff from Elite FTS, and what you're making off of it is just it's not even close.
Yeah,
so as far as margins,
that's
stuff
a tricky
like that.
thing for me too. Of like with working in campus recreation at universities, it's like there's portions of what I run and do that, is, kind of like the way we train. And, we have areas set up for serious lifters, but that's one big thing I've had to learn is like the whole fitness, more of side of things of like general people, that you have to be able to generate revenue from. And it's like a whole different world and figuring out like what people want. And you really have to be able to like, and it seems like you're doing a good job so far of like, you want to have your imprint of what you're passionate about on what you're doing. But at the same time, I can't design a gym just like I would train there. It's got to be, some of that other stuff.
Well, and that's what basically being able to have the two different rooms or sides, I was able to do that. Fortunately, I get to have my own, we have this small community. We have a ton of different powerlifters. We've gotten a lot of females involved in powerlifting. So we have a class going on, and then we have somebody squatting, 600 pounds. It's great. Like
That's awesome.
Like a lot of the girls will walk in and be like, oh, this room isn't for me. And then we're like, well, just try class. And because we have most of the girls teach the classes, so it's a little less intimidating. And 90+% of them, once they do one, they're like, this place is great. Like they love, we have a couple of, Jerry's one of our old ladies. She's this tiny little black lady. She kind of waddles in and we get her set up on all of her stuff. And, she's on the belt squat and she's doing goblet squats and stuff like that. So it's, it's fun because she's going to go ask questions to somebody else that's in class. And like, it's really cool the way it's kind of panned out for us. So yeah, we're fortunate.
Yeah, for sure. So, with obviously you had, and when did you guys officially open? How long ago?
I think it was November last year. So it's like 6 months. Something like that.
So I know with, you had all that transition with your career, and then just when you didn't have enough to worry about or deal with, you had some of these health things that come up too. And and I'll fill people in the bio before this about a little bit of your powerlifting history and stuff so people know where you're at. But basically, to summarize, correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of had come back from some injuries, did that single ply meet, your strength's looking good, you're kind of right to where you're within striking distance, a world record, hitting what you want. And then you had some of these health problems pop up. Could you go a little bit into what kind of happened with that?
Yeah, so to flash back just a little bit, during that prep for the single ply meet, so I had the hip issues, and Danny helped you, and she's helped me, and it was great working with her. We're fortunate to have her as a resource, but
for sure.
So I got through all that. My technique got so much better. My squat got better. My deadlift got better. So it was a fortunate rehab, a fortunate reset. Made the most of it, and did the single ply meet. During the single ply meet, during all that preparation and training, I started to have digestive issues, but they were on and off, and it was just kind of like, maybe it's something I ate, maybe it's a little sickness, whatever. Kind of blew it off, and it got, not that it got better, but it didn't get any worse, and it was just kind of like whatever. So I let it roll. So that was August to, basically, let's say August to December, about 6 months of feeling okay as far as my digestive health. Started to prepare for the Arnold. I had signed up for it like 2 or 3 times before that and couldn't compete because I kept getting hurt.
Right.
So I during prep for that, it was the best training cycle I ever had. Just crushing weights left and right, even when I wasn't feeling well. So it's just like, let it roll. Like I'll deal with this down the road. And it didn't get unbearable until sometime around the last month. So during February, maybe the last couple weeks of February, still hitting my numbers. So I'm like, okay, I'll go home and feel like shit, but come to the gym and still do what I needed to do. And I started my cut. So the week before, last weekend of February going into March, started my weight cut at 235. Did everything I normally would do. Now I don't cut a lot. This might have been the third time I did it. But it's a simple process. Anybody that's been through it, there's not a lot of variables. It's not like, you know what to expect.
Yeah.
And so I went from about 235, 240 in a week down to 215. Normally it would be hard for me to get just under 220, which is, that's the plan, right? So obviously something wasn't right. Once I got to I weighed in at 214, 215. Started eating, hydrating. None of it was sticking. Once I saw Dave, he looked at me and he was like, "Don't do it." So that day we called it quits. Day of the meet, and I was okay with it. I understood. I've been very patient, right? I haven't done the last real raw meet I did was fucking Rum 8, which was February of 2015 or something like that. So I have the patience. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So I'll just fucking deal with it. But anyways, I was disappointed that day, but it was funny because I was helping Yessie. And she had a pretty good meet. I was a little frustrated with her deadlift, but what the hell was I going to say? I picked up a 40. I was helping move plates around during the meet. And the 45-pound plate felt like about a 100-pound plate. So I knew I made the right decision. Yeah. So that was why it was a little easier pill to swallow. But at that point, I was with the doctors trying to figure out, we ran through a bunch of different medications. They would work for a week and stop, which, the doctor was like, that's pretty typical in your case or in these cases. And so I went from that 215 mark to 180 in 5 weeks. So really 240 to 180 in 6 or 7 weeks. Yeah. I look like fucking Matthew McConaughey from Dallas Buyers Club. Yeah. It was bad. I was on the couch. I didn't go to work for three weeks. Tried to do as much as I could from home. Was on the couch for 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Literally couch to bathroom, back to the couch. If I felt good, I sat up. If I didn't, I laid down. That was my day. Yeah. And so it was honestly, and I mean, you know me. I'm not dramatic. I'm not. Yeah. It was the worst experience of my life. I would not wish it on anybody. Yeah. It's scary. It's because you're wondering when is this going to stop? What am I going to have left when this is done? Not even weight wise, but just in general, because there still is a possibility, assuming worst case scenario, that I could have surgery and they might have to take my colon. That's part of it's the nature of the disease. But talked with Schwab a lot, talked with Clint Arden a lot. They've both been really helpful, and I sad to say it, but I think I'm having an easier go at it than they are. I know they've been dealing with stuff for a long time, and I'm on Humira, which Schwabi took and didn't work for him. So it's that's kind of the general hey, this is going to work for you, and he took it and it made it worse, and it's just you feel for the guy. It's damn. Yeah. So it was brutal. I hit my low at 180 in April. What are we at the end of May? Yeah. So beginning of April, I was 180 pounds. I was literally 180, 181. And last night I weighed in at 220. So, been crushing food and the medication is the biggest thing. That's what's helping. Because I've always been eating, but it's just a matter of actually hanging on to it and being able to use the nutrients. So,
right. It's been good to see you. It's been good to just, and following you on social media and seeing your updates and reading your logs. It's been good to see at least you're making some progress, heading in good direction certainly. Versus bad direction, right?
Certainly. And I always toe the line. I think people that are always positive, not that they're full of shit, but it's just and not that it's even irritating, but I just like to be as honest as possible, right? Put a positive spin on it, but just be honest about it. And even to today, every day's up and down. There's good days, bad days, but in general, it seems like every week is a little better than the last, and really, that's all I can ask for. So
it's interesting you say that because I found that's this. I feel like I've swung to both ends of the spectrum, and I've talked to me and Vinny talked about this, and I've talked with some other people about it. I think at times it's I've swung too far on the side of just get stuff off your chest, say what you need to say, be transparent to the point where I let negative self-talk kind of downward spiral me a little bit. And then sometimes if you try to just fake the happiness, positive thing, it just gets so phony that it's you can't take it anymore either. So it's this delicate balance, right? Because, you've written some good things from some books you've read in the past in your logs that I've appreciated of, I think one of the issues when I was having, some rough times a few years ago was when I would just say, how bad it was so many times that I just like, it was like echoing in my head, and then I made it worse. But then, you know, to your point too, I don't think it's helping yourself or anybody else if people could see you're struggling and you're like, dude, that's just so full of shit. He's like, you know,
Right,
I'm happy.
Right.
And me and Mark Dugdale talked about this too, because I asked him some questions about, like, you know, bodybuilding and, you know, not letting other people's judgment of you define you and stuff like that. And he was like, I'm not going to give you some fake answer. He's like, you know, he's like, it does define me to a certain extent. He's like, if it got taken away today, it would be very hard. He's like, and I appreciated that, because I think sometimes, you know, and I tried not to like lead him with that question, but I think sometimes people are like, yeah, you know, my identity is not in this. And it's like, sure, dude, we'll let it get taken away, and then we'll see. We'll see if it's not your identity. But
right. Marshall and I have had talks about that, and I appreciate it. It's similar to you. You know, he's been through some of his own issues, and well, I mean, similar to all of us, really.
Right.
But he was like, so are you training? Are you training? Like, you okay? You okay? And I'm like, and I know this is, again, me trying to be honest. If it got taken away tomorrow, I think I'd be okay. I have a lot of things that I like to not preoccupy myself with, but like what gets me, what you know, there's some people that just love to train, right? It's not the PR on the platform or whatever it is. It's just they love training. I enjoy training. I would love it, you know, if I couldn't do any of it, that would bother me. But if I couldn't compete, I think I'd be okay. My thing, what gets me off is fucking getting better at something every day.
Yeah.
It can be, you know, like we were in Miami, me and Yessie, and everybody speaking Spanish, and I'm like, fuck, because I have Rosetta Stone on my computer, and I just never used it, and I'm like, shit, I should have done it. So like, that would be something that I would enjoy. You know what I mean? Just picking up a new hobby or habit or whatever. But when I was 180, I was like, I don't like the feel. I don't like the look, right? Like, you know, I'm back to 220. I'm like, I'm okay. You know, need a little more. But yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, I think it's bullshit for somebody to put as much time and effort in as we all do and say that it doesn't matter to them or say that, you know, 1,000% I'd be perfectly fine. It's like, you sure? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you're really thinking this one through. So
yeah, no, I think it's a good point too that you make about like just challenges and stuff too, because I found that for myself too, because I used to think like, and like same as you, I think if I like couldn't train at all, I would definitely be pissed off. But I think there's like something about training of like the discipline of like taking a period of time and just seeing some measurable progress of disciplining yourself to do something that I think could translate to other areas too. And even since I would like pick up a different hobby or like, you know, start going like shooting or something. And just even like I sucked day one, a couple weeks of steady practice, I'm better. Like that keeps me going. And I think like, you know, I was listening to somebody talk about how in this day and age, like it's something a lot of people are lacking of like some sort of thing to challenge themselves at to get better over time. And it can be training, it can be learning a new language, it can be whatever. But it's like, I think people's like, whether it's like depression or whether it's just like them just being passionless or whatever, I think like if you don't seek some of those things out, it makes everything way worse. Like you got to have something that you're chipping away at, you know?
Yeah. I mean, look what you're doing, right? You've created this it started with some of the mental health studies and now you've moved it to a podcast. So it's like, that's your new baby, right? Like you're taking care of that. And, you know, I'm sure you have big plans for it, but I would bet also if it doesn't pan out, you're going to be fine. Cause it was the process of just getting better at something, right? Like learning how to do fucking podcasts and all that stuff. That's what Yessie and I are with, Coupled in Strength. Like we have these grand goals. It's not our number one priority. So if we don't get there, we understand why we didn't get there. And that's just, you know, that's part of it. Now, if we decide to make it our number one priority, then yeah, we'll put the resources toward it and maybe it'll crush us if we don't make it. But, you know, that's the risk you take, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's like for a long time, you know, and I still have some work to do in this area, but I've never been a good risk taker. Like I'm just a very like conservatively planning person of just like, I don't, you know, I'm always like looking at the minutia of like, how could this fail? And if I don't feel good about the process to get to the success, it's like not wanting to take it. You know, I struggle with not having control over stuff. And, you know, just little things like starting this podcast is always like, not knowing whether this will go where in the future, just to have done it. If this ended today, this would have been really good for me just to do it. And it's like, that's been something that I've been trying to like force myself to do more, is like, without necessarily knowing what the finish line looks like, just go do it. And, I told Vinny and I told Jim Wendler last week, I was like, if nothing else, I'm already learning a ton from the conversations I'm having with people. So, I think I'm learning to, and like you, it's a constant growth thing, but it's like, I think I'm learning to embrace like little experiences as they come a little better than I have in the past, of always looking at like so far down the road that it's like you're not even enjoying the journey or whatever.
Yep.
That's
being present is one of the hardest things. Maybe I don't want to call it a generational thing, because there are plenty of people, plenty of parents and stuff like that aren't present. But just in today's society in general, I think that is the biggest challenge, is to be present. You're always worried about paying bills or making more money, or I think we all go through that period. I say we as in guys or kids our age, where that 22, 23, right after college, you're chasing money. Because that's what you think is going to make you happy, or whatever it might be. I don't know. And there are plenty of people that get it way faster than others. I'm happy that I figured out what makes me happy before 30. Yeah. You know what I mean? Before you get married, before you're stuck. I think it's a Bill Burr quote. He's like, sleeping on a futon isn't scary. He goes, sleeping next to somebody you fucking hate for the rest of your life is scary. He goes, I'll take the futon. So it's being present, but then and just figuring out how to enjoy the journey. And that's kind of what we were getting at with the whole, if you make it, great. If you don't, you got better at something, or hopefully got better at something.
Well, it's like, I think to your point with that, with like the, learning what you want and what makes you happy. It's like, I think if, when I was like a kid, if I would have thought like, everyone kind of think initially, and this is probably from like generational picture of years ago, they think like, oh, like early 20s, it'd be cool to like be settling down, be in the job you want, like be married, whatever. And then now, you and I are about the same age, and now it's like, I'm so happy that even though life, isn't perfect, hasn't been perfect, I'm so happy that like I'm where I'm at now, of like, I think about if I was like settled down where I wanted to be at 21 or 22 or 23, like I was such an idiot. And like, I'm sure 10 years from now, I'm going to think I'm an idiot now, but it's like, I've like just experiences, like even the bad ones, like the stuff you've gone through too. I mean, it makes you a different person, and it can make you a different person in a bad way or a good way.
Yeah,
hopefully it leans more towards the good way, which I think you're doing. And it's interesting to see how that all works.
Yeah. I don't know if you read any of the stuff, the relationship stuff that I talked about. This was over maybe a 2-year period, but it wasn't so much like to actually talk about the relationships as opposed to, this was the mistake I made, and it was overthinking, and it was, there were a lot of typical mental issues that I was going through that everybody fucking deals with, overthinking or insecurities or whatever it might be. So the point of me sharing that was, hey, regardless of the what brought it on, the symptom was overthinking, and those, you run through the litany of issues, but just figuring out how to quiet your mind, how to not be in control, but really to let go, right? Just enjoy things for what they are, instead of, we all have this, through a lot of the books I've read, it's when your expectation doesn't fit reality, that's where the disconnect is, the discord. And it's just a lot more enjoyable when you let shit go and you're just like, hey, I'm down for whatever, man. Let's, whatever. Yeah. If it's like, hey, you want a speed pull today or speed squat? Like if you're like, fuck it, whatever. It's fun. Go do it. Like, or like what restaurant you want to go to. Instead of, you have this expectation. You're like, I fucking wanted to squat today instead of pulls. It's like, who gives a fuck? So maybe a bad example, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I totally get it, man. I did something I've been trying to work on for myself, is like loosening my grip on what I expect things to be, and learn how to roll with the punches sometimes. Because it's like, if you can't figure it out now, I just started thinking, like, what makes me think in 10 years suddenly life is all going to be matching my expectations? Like, I might as well figure it out now, because life's always going to be all over the place.
Yeah,
but
and I think there are a lot of guys. Well, I shouldn't say guys, just people in general that look at that and they're like, well, you're just giving up. And it's, no, you're not. You're accepting the circumstance as it is, but that doesn't mean you can't change it the next time or change your perspective, or, you can be in control that way. It's not, you don't have to change that situation. It's just how you react to that situation.
Yeah, I think a lot of times a lot of my anxiety came from the fear of being out of control.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've almost, one of the things that I think has been helping me a lot, and I'm still working on it, but like learning to be okay with being out of control, like not fearing fear, and not just being able to be okay with, like, you know what, things are a little out of control right now, but it's like that doesn't mean I have to let it like ruin my whole life right now. Like, this is just like, it's just kind of just the way life works. It's a little out of control sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, those are some of the best days, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with the career now, and having the gym rolling, and now you're recovering from some of the health stuff and working through changes. What do you kind of see for the next year for yourself? Just kind of, I guess, generally, but then also competitively, since obviously I know your goal is to get back on the platform again.
Yeah. So I'm fortunate in the sense that, what we have going on here, I'm afforded the opportunity to do things outside of this. And that's, so like, the whole, when people give you the cliche, if money didn't exist, what would you do every day? This is what I would do. I show up around noon and I work down here till 8 and just kind of hang out and shake hands and kiss babies and teach some technique and have fun with everybody and just try to make sure the gym is moving in the right direction. I let my girls do the operations. They crush it. I don't even have to, we sit down and have weekly meetings, but I'm not worried about them. I just want to make them better as coaches. That's kind of my whole goal. So this space is really cool. I can't really show you. I don't want to walk around yet, but we have it's an old mall. There's an old plaza. We have a green space right in front of us. We're hosting, June 17th, we're hosting a yoga event with UPMC and my guys from FIT. And so we'll have 500 people here plus just doing yoga on the grass, nice. Which is awesome. Yeah, we'll have a restaurant eventually put in at the end of our, within walking distance. So it's cool. So we'll have there'll be 4 different restaurants down there. So this will be fun. We're doing well building a community. We still have a long ways to go, but that's my ultimate goal for this place. Obviously we want to make money and do well, but being a beacon, so where we're in the north side, and it's not a great space. There's historically it's some gangs and just not a place you want to live. Right. That's all changing. There's been some money being injected into the area, and the local north side community is changing, and they're bonding together, which is good. So we're trying to work with them, and we're doing a deadlift only meet on June 25th. It'll be a charity meet that goes to local Urban Impact is the name of the charity. So that's the goal for this place. For me outside of that, I'm going to work with my guys at FIT, and we're all about, we want to just build small businesses. We're not really concerned about what, we just want it to be stuff we're passionate about. So we want to do a float center, sensory deprivation tanks, all that stuff. So that's our number one goal now. We hope to do that. We're looking at spaces here. Hope to do that in the next 3 to 6 months, at least, get a space finalized and then start to move forward with the actual project. So we want to do that. Probably a lot of stuff on the health and wellness side. We're looking at maybe doing some concussion testing with with sensory deprivation tanks. Nice. I think that could be valuable to a lot of people. Yeah. I think that's really good for mental health too, to kind of tie it into the podcast.
Yeah, I have yet to try a float tank. I really want to, though. It's
my advice. Yeah, so my advice, especially because I get the whole anxiety thing. I have a little bit of that. Everybody has a little bit of that themselves. Yeah. I know for me, it used to be a lot worse. Like high school, holy fuck, I hated high school. The first time you go in the tank is going to be very anxiety-inducing. There's nothing for your brain to hang on to other than your own thoughts, and you know what that's like. That'll drive you insane.
Right.
So I would say go in knowing. Don't take any caffeine. Don't do anything that's going to keep you agitated or excited.
Mm.
But even does kratom help calm you down?
Yeah.
So maybe try that the first time, or maybe just try it without it, and then the second time try it. But try the tank at least 3 times. A good float place should be like, hey, you buy 1 and they give you 3, because that's really kind of what it takes to figure out how to respond, how to react when you're in the tank. Because it's like your eyes, whether they're open or closed, you're going to see colors. You're going to see, like, it's really trippy. It's fucking weird.
Crazy.
But it took me 2 or 3 times. But by 4, 5, 6, it was just like, it was like a deep sleep. It was like you got out of it and you were like, that was absolutely worth the, $50, $60, $70, whatever it is. So that's kind of our goal. And maybe part of that, we might figure out a way to do some meditation beforehand to kind of guide people. And then maybe figure out, might throw some massage in there. All jokes aside, if marijuana would be illegal in all 50 states, that would be something that you could kind of incorporate with the tanks. The guy, John C. Lilly, is the guy that invented them back in like 1950, mid 50s, something like that. Dude would just shoot up ketamine and sleep in the tank for like 8 or 12 hours. Like it was a different purpose. But the funny part is they're really good for a lot of things. Even if you just want an Epsom salt bath, you know what I mean? Like but you can lay in them and like your spine is completely decompressed, and like there's just so many benefits that
That's sweet, man. Yeah. Hopefully, I'm probably gonna try and have some sort of expert on to do a whole separate episode about this, but hopefully marijuana will just be legal everywhere at some point in a way that doesn't. It's such an antiquated idea that it's still legal. It blows my mind, and I never realized when I was younger how much worse I think alcohol is than marijuana.
right.
Like from like almost every like if I could. I think if I had kids right now and I could choose them to do one or the other, I'd rather have them smoke weed. Like it's just crazy, but hopefully at some point, man.
I look at the amount of alcohol I drank before 21 and I'm like, that was stupid. And then I probably doubled or tripled it after 21. So that was it's not good. It's bad.
It definitely makes other issues worse.
Yeah.
Alcohol, for sure.
Would you rather be in a room full of drunk people or high people?
Yeah. It's an easy question.
It's a fucking easy answer. And if you answer drunk, then you're an asshole and I don't want to hang around with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's cool, man. So then competitively, where do you think you're looking at for the next year?
Forgot to get to that. So I'm just gonna let my body weight do what it wants. Health is number one for me right now. Once I get all these issues under control, I'll start to iron some things out. Like Marshall and I wanted to compete against each other at the Olympia. That's in November. Barring a miraculous comeback, I don't see that happening. It could, and I might have to bow down to Marshall, but maybe might be a first chance to get back to the platform, but I doubt it. I don't know. Dan Green texts me. He's like, "Hey, you want to come to Boss Bosses?" And I'm like, "Well, funny thing, I can do the 181s if you want me to." So, I don't know. As far as body weight that I'll compete at, again, it'll just be whatever my body wants to do. I got back to 220 pretty quick, which is what I expected. I think I'll get back to 240 without trying really hard, but we'll see. But that'll kind of determine whether I go. I'll probably take a shot at 220, assuming no health risks or anything stupid like that.
For sure.
I will. I could do a single ply meet again. I think that may be a good route. Just do a quick tune up and get back to the platform and feel good, and maybe try to hit some numbers in single ply and then kind of mimic that raw as a meet after that. That might be a good way to kind of prime my body for not kill myself, but get back to where I think I could be or want to be. So getting ready for the Arnold, I had 2,200 in me. Assuming that the cut went well and the refeed and all that stuff, that's always a variable that you have to consider. So I don't foresee any issues getting back to 2,200, 220. I think that's still the goal. And then maybe like a 10 times body weight total. However I get it done would be one of the goals. So do a raw and then maybe try it in single ply at 242, something like that.
Cool, man.
I don't know.
Yeah. See
Whatever.
how it
Just
goes.
just try to get fucking strong. That's
Yeah.
it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think it'll be. I know I've been enjoying reading all your stuff as you continue to work through stuff, and I know a lot of other people do. So between the stuff you and Yessie have going on, and this stuff, and the gym stuff, and I mean, you got plenty of cool stuff, and I think people appreciate people that, like I said before, are transparent about the challenges that come with it, but also I think you're doing a good job sharing the lessons you're learning from it too, which I think is helpful for people. So
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate the feedback. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? Like I'm not doing this for myself. Like it's not part of it, maybe therapeutic at times, but it's work, right? I mean, you know what it's like to have to do the logs and all that stuff, and it's fun. It's enjoyable to be able to reach out to people and have people sincerely appreciate the information that you're putting out there. One of the best feelings in the world, but it's work. It's hard, and I think we're just fortunate to have the opportunity to do it, to have a microphone, have a platform that we can share from. But that is my biggest goal is to actually not just put a story out there. It's like make it very easy for people. What is the takeaway? How can you do this for yourself? How can you overcome your overthinking or whatever it might be, whatever challenges you're going through. And that's why, like Coupled in Strength, we're just trying to, we want to make it funny, but we don't want to make it, we had a fight today. And it's like, what does that mean? How do we work through that?
Right.
Is this something valuable for you? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, who knows? But, so that's what we're trying. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's great, man. I know I appreciate it, and that was why part of the reason I want to have you on here to chat today. I think you got some good stuff going on. So thanks for taking some time to do this, dude.
No, absolutely. It's been good. We got to catch up.